I recently saw this post on Instagram about misogyny being on the rise here in Finland. The one who posted that was a Finnish politician, and he, once again, as everybody else, used Andrew Tate as the reason for all this. That is because of social media influencers who are these toxic masculinity types, and that's what's causing all of this. And of course, he did not address in that post all the pain that young men are going through, the isolation, the loneliness, the misery that young men are going through. Because now, in today's world, it seems like it's going to be impossible to make a career and make enough money to buy a house and start a family, and everything is effed up, everything is messed up. And this post made me want to make this video in response because it was so simplified. It was so black and white. And even the comments on that post, it was just women, 99% were women. And you know what they were saying? Men are so bad, Finnish men are so bad and so terrible. Why are Finnish men blaming immigrants for crimes when Finnish men themselves are committing crimes, which is the most retarded thing or argument, if you will, because that's exactly why we don't want more criminals into this country. We already have these issues. We already have unemployment, we already have criminals, and we need to take care of those things here. So of course we don't want more of those things. I know immigrants personally. I have very close immigrants in my life, and they are awesome, and they are working, and they are paying taxes, and they are not committing crimes. I have no issue with taking in immigrants who come here to work and integrate into our country and culture. No problem whatsoever. But I do not want to blindly take some kind of refugees who we do not check and filter and make sure they are not pieces of shit, because we already have pieces of shit in this country of our own. And then another thing in those comments, these women were lamenting, why are there no guys in these comments saying anything? As if they thought that it's because all men are so goddamn terrible that we are not condemning domestic violence. That's why we are not in the discussion, because we don't care. How about we do not want to comment there? Because imagine a situation like this. You walk into a room and the room is full of women just bashing men. And imagine you're a Finnish man like I am. As a Finnish man, I walk into a room and I hear, oh my God, men are so terrible. Men need to step up. Men need to be masculine men. Men need to be real men. Finnish men are so gross. Why are they blaming the immigrants? You hear all these things and there's not a single comment asking, how can we help these men? There's not a single comment asking, what is wrong with these men? Because in case you didn't realize, if there was a woman watching this, men are boys. They are little innocent boys originally. And something happens to them. They go through shit that is so bad that it twists them into these monsters that you are so afraid of. Most men are decent. Most men are good. Most men want to mind their own business. Then there's just a handful of those terrible ones out there. And you think it's gonna make things better, that just because there's a handful of those evil fucks, you go around and you say that all men are terrible and men need to step up, men need to man up. And then at the same time, it's usually the people from the left talk about these things more, which, you know, for this thing I gotta give credit to the left, because it's good to talk about these problems. It's good to mention that, by the way, the most dangerous man for a woman is actually their husband or their boyfriend. That's just what it is, right? So it's good to bring this up and talk about this. But it is also the left that has been claiming for years now that there is no such thing as freaking gender, biological sex, that it's just an identity. A man can be a mother. We shouldn't use words like mother and father anymore. We should use words like, what is it even? I don't even know, some kind of like birthing person or whatever. And then breastfeeding should be chest feeding. So there is no gender roles. There shouldn't be gender roles. There shouldn't be traditional roles for men and women. But then when shit like this happens, when war happens or violence happens, suddenly men have to be masculine men again. Suddenly we have to embrace the gendered roles, the traditional gendered roles. And we all know why that is. It's because everybody knows. All those people, excuse me my language, but all those people who all those years have been saying, oh, of course a man can be a woman if that's what they feel like. Those people have always known the truth. All those trans activists, they know the truth. They know there are two sexes and then something in between, which is the intersex. But they know a man cannot be a woman, and they sure as hell know that a woman cannot be a man, and that's why they also know that society needs these roles. We do need strong men to protect the weak, but we won't have those strong men much longer at this rate because we keep neglecting them. We keep pushing them down. We keep telling men that they shouldn't be men. When you see two boys, young boys, wrestle, maybe even throw a punch at each other, you know what we tell them? We tell them that's wrong. We tell them that's bad. And maybe it is bad if it's a bully who is kicking somebody on the ground. That's bad. But if you have two boys who are having a fight and they wrestle, and after that you teach them, be respectful, shake your hands and respect the one who won and try to become stronger. Instead of saying that's not good, boys can't be boys, don't be a toxic man. How are we supposed to raise the warriors? Because and I don't like it, by the way. I'm not saying this because I admire that type of thing. I'm just saying this because if you want to have a man who will step up, because I saw these examples in the comment section. There was a woman who said, yeah, I was on the bus and there was a guy telling women to give him a blowjob and nobody did anything. It was very creepy and scary and no one said anything, which to her credit, I think the bus driver should kick that guy out. So I think it's his responsibility, to be honest. But she was lamenting that the other men, they did not do anything. Well, I've been in that situation myself, which is interesting. Because when I read that comment, I thought, well, that's interesting, because I have been exactly in the same situation when I was 18 or 19 years old. There was a man doing exactly that same thing, saying those things to women. And I did not stand up. You know why? Because that guy was drunk and he was big. I was just an 18, 19-year-old kid, skinny as hell. I did hit the gym at that time, but I was still skinny because I didn't eat enough. So there's this guy who's definitely bigger than me. I don't know if he has a knife. I don't know if he has history of beating people up. I don't know any of these people. I don't know these women. So of course I didn't stand up. It was scary. Even for me as a man, it was scary as hell. So what would be required that somebody like me would do something in that situation? Well, I would need to be familiar with violence. Because if you go between a woman and a man who is harassing the woman, you know what happened in Germany not long ago to the American guy who was trying to do exactly that. He got stabbed in the face. Because men are dangerous. I understand. As a woman, you are afraid of men, of course you are. But you do understand that men actually experience more violence than women do. Sure, a man is way more likely to harass a woman, but a man is also way more likely to punch another man in the face and kick their teeth in and possibly kill you. So if you want men to be these warriors who are not afraid of violence, we have to teach them. We have to teach men to be familiar with violence. We need to, in school, instead of some stupid ass volleyball, which, it was fun, but, my point here is, why did we spend all that time in school playing freaking floorball and volleyball and football, soccer for the US viewers, when we could have spent that time learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or some other self-defense sport? Why are we not teaching boys to fight? Because it's freaking fun. I've been to a self-defense course once in my life. It took something like 3 months, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. Now I'm not doing that currently because I live in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have the time to go to any of that training in a bigger city. But when I was living in the city and I went to one of these self-defense courses, it was so much fun. Throwing punches, taking punches, wrestling with other guys. It's freaking awesome. So why are we not teaching boys to fight instead of playing freaking floorball? That's my question. So anyway, I know this is quite the rant. I just felt like I'm just gonna let out all the steam that I have, because when I was reading those comments, man, because the women said in the comments, like, why are these guys saying but? Why are they excusing these things? No, not excusing things. That's different. Of course, none of those things. Men shouldn't harass women. Men shouldn't freaking beat their own wives at home. It's sick. And I will never understand that. But if these women in that comment section want to actually have a conversation, then they need to let men talk. They need to let men speak. Because now what I felt when I looked at the comments, it felt to me like it's just these women craving validation, craving an echo chamber. So they just want to be in the social media space where everyone is parroting the same thing and giving each other likes, so that they feel emotionally good. It was all about emotions. Whereas us men, we want solutions. So if I go to comment in that thread, what am I supposed to say? If I try to say something constructive, I'm just gonna be met with criticism. And then I have to spend countless of freaking hours arguing these people in the text format in the comments, because if I'm gonna comment something, I want to solve problems. I don't just want to vent my emotions there. So that's why there's no men in the comments, because men don't care about going to comments and saying, oh yes, men suck. We are so terrible. I agree with you, women. You are so amazing and we suck. And I know that sounds stupid when I say it like that, but that's because you often see this. When I say I go to the room full of women complaining about violent men, they would say, well, why does it bother you? Because are you a violent man? No, I've never been violent. I've never been abusive, never been any of those things. Yet, when I hear people talk badly about men, I take it personally. I don't know why. Somebody explained to me in the comments why I take it personally. Maybe I need to work on that, but that's what happens to me. I'm just being honest here. If I see a discussion talking about how bad men are, and not a single good word being said about men in general, I take it personally. I feel like these women are attacking men in general. That's just the way it makes me feel. So if we want to change this society and we want to make men great again, then guess what? We have to be more conservative. We have to be more traditional. And testosterone is on the decline as well. Everybody knows that at this point. And you know what testosterone does to a man? It increases the chance that we will take risk. So if a man has a lot of testosterone, they will be more aggressive and they will take more risk. So they will be more likely to step up and actually defend people. So that's one thing. And the other thing, like I said, let us teach boys in school how to defend themselves instead of playing freaking floorball. And then let us not play this stupid game of gender identity. You can have gender identity, you can play to be whatever you want. I don't care. If you're a dude and you want to be a woman, go dress up as a woman. Imagine yourself being a woman. All the power to you. But do not try to force other people to talk about you as if you are a real woman. Do not make it a freaking law to lie. Because that's what it is. If we have to call a man a woman just because that man wants to be called a woman, and otherwise we are misgendering them and then we can be punished for that, you can forget everything. Men are not gonna play these stupid games, and men are not gonna protect anyone who is pushing this agenda. And ultimately, unfortunately, we humans are selfish in the way that if I have a girlfriend, which I do, and she's threatened, like this happened a while ago. There was this big dog coming from the neighbor's side because they don't have a leash on him, because he's usually behaving quite nicely and staying on their side. But this one time the dog came to my girlfriend very aggressively, running towards her and barking and looking very aggressive. I stepped between my girlfriend and that dog, and I remember I looked that dog in the eye, and it's a big dog. I looked at it in the eye and I was thinking, you come any closer and I will rip your head off. And I know with a big dog like that, that's not how it's gonna go. Like in my fantasy, I'm just gonna take some kind of a chokehold or something. But the reality is that dog is gonna bite me everywhere and may injure me pretty badly, probably. But nevertheless, I was completely fearless. I felt zero fear in that moment because I was protecting the one I love. But then at the same time, still to this day, probably, if I'm on the bus and there is a big dude harassing women, I don't know if I would step up. Because it's scary as hell. Only when it's the woman I love, the fear goes away. My instincts kick in because it's my woman. And then I'm ready to fight and get injured and I don't care. But when it's a stranger, the same instincts doesn't kick in. Like, what the hell are we supposed to do about that? It's in our nature. And you do know that in some cultures, that's why if a woman is alone in public, the men think they can approach her and they can harass her because in their minds, in their culture, they are wondering, where's the husband? Where's the father? Where's the brother? Why is nobody protecting you? And then we get back to this cycle of, well, women can do anything, women don't need men, and women should be, and of course they should be. Here's the thing. Of course women should be able to roam free and walk free. I want that world. That's the kind of country I want our country to be. But it's not going to be that way if we don't change a lot of the things going on. One of the things being, we do not punish criminals here in Finland much at all. It's ridiculous. You can do all sorts of things that, in my opinion, should warrant a lifelong prison sentence. And you get maybe a few years. On YouTube, I can't use the specific terms because this platform sucks, but if you assault a woman, and by that you know what I mean, you just get a few years. And that's it. I think you should get a life sentence. But in this country, no one gives a f***. The government doesn't care. The government cares about saving money, so it doesn't want people to be in prison. The government cares about freaking taxes way more than it cares about the safety of its people. And then we take in more criminals because we already have criminals. So, why do you blame the immigrant criminals for things when we have criminals here of our own? Yeah, gee, I wonder why. I wonder why we don't want more. Oh, Jesus Christ. Usually I don't do these rants, but today I felt like if I really want to make this video, I have to make it a rant. I can't talk about it point by point in a very calm manner, which is very interesting because usually when I talk with people, I'm very calm. I think that's the big difference here on YouTube. If you met me in real life, I would never rant like this. Almost never. Maybe when I take a couple of beers, but usually I stay calm on purpose because I think it's way better to have a conversation when you both stay calm. But today I needed this. I needed to have this little rant. So anyway, we have come to this point by having certain policies, and those policies, they are not changing. If you ask these women, they want more immigrants. If you ask these women, they want more freedom for women, which, I understand. We want freedom for women, but if we want to protect women, we need to appreciate men. We need to teach men to be masculine. If you want real manly men, please let everybody know that being a traditional masculine man is awesome, not toxic. Men are dangerous. Men are violent. That's why we need to make sure we don't make them angry and miserable and resentful, which is happening now all across the globe. Women only pick the top 10% on Tinder. If you're an average guy, no one ever pays any attention to you. You chat with a woman online, they don't care about you. You chat with an AI girlfriend, feels much better. So the direction is not exactly very hopeful, but I think the pendulum is swinging back because I believe that's how society works. We've gone to one direction too far now, and it has to come back. It has to swing back. But if it doesn't swing back, things are gonna get worse, not better. And it's not gonna be fixed by complaining in comment sections about how terrible men are. That's everything for today. If you enjoy this rant, then subscribe, at least like the video because the algorithm likes that. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching this, and sorry for the rant.